Tomorrow, November the 7th, is Election Day. As I mentioned, in many parts of the country, there are state legislative votes in Virginia, New Jersey, and governor's races in Mississippi and Kentucky. Also, early voting continues in my home state of Louisiana. To find out how you can be more involved, know what's on the ballot, visit frcaction.org for resources and more information, but be sure and vote. For the last 9 months, Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville has protested the Biden Defense Department's illegal and immoral policy of using taxpayer dollars to facilitate abortions in the military. Now, since Chuck Schumer, the scare leader in the Senate, controls the bills that go to the floor, the only tool available to a senator has been to object to the unanimous consent of military promotions. Now, what does that mean? Well, it actually means the Senate has to vote on each one of these promotions. It doesn't stop them. It just makes them have to vote. Well, Senator Tuberville's grown accustomed to attacks by pro-abortion Democrats, but last week, the attacks came from his own side. Now, over the weekend, my friend Senator Mike Lee of Utah sent me a tweet that he had just posted, and it read as follows, quote, "One can't proudly wear the pro-life label while attacking those who are waging pro-life war. Hashtag stand with Coach Tuberville." Well, joining me now to discuss this and more is Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. He serves on 4 Senate committees, including the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Senate Committee on Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions. Senator, welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
Thank you, Tony.
You know, I reposted Mike Lee's tweet with, I think, an analogy that's more fitting. If you're wearing the pro-life jersey, don't sack the quarterback. I mean, you've been in the pocket there, drawing attention to this issue. Were you surprised that you had some of your own Republican colleagues go to the floor and attack you last week?
Well, not really. Sooner or later, people are going to step up and hopefully come up with a solution to this. But it was more of coming up and kind of pounding me, wondering, what are you doing? Unfortunately, for the last 9 months, I've been doing the same thing I did last week, probably 15, 16 times against Democrats. Elizabeth Warren, Chuck Schumer, Jack Reed, Senator Bennett. This time it was Republicans. And I think people get kind of getting frustrated, but we need to find solutions, Tony. Solutions are is what's going to stop this problem. The Israeli Hamas war kind of heated it up a little bit. They're hollering at me because they think it's readiness. Hey, I'm not in charge of readiness. The people over in the Pentagon are in charge of readiness. This is not hurting readiness. Every job is filled. But as you said, most people don't understand this. I'm not holding up nominations. I just don't want them to do it all at one time, 300 or 400 of them. They can bring up 2 or 3 a day, but they don't do it.
Now, the Pentagon continues to claim your holds are a threat, as you said, to national security, military readiness. But since they could end this overnight, they must consider abortion more important than national security, because this could go away if they simply go back to the policy that the Congress approved.
Exactly, Tony. That's been one of my talking points. They could very easily change this policy back. And if they did that, they'd have every one of their nominations confirmed at the snap of a finger. But they care more about, abortion and having a handle on abortion and pushing abortion on the taxpayers than they do about national security. They're talking about me. They are the ones stopping national and preventing us from having national security.
So let me ask you this, Senator Tuberville. How many conversations have you had with President Biden about this, and how many times has the Secretary of Defense sat down to talk with you about how this could be solved?
I've talked to the Secretary of Defense a couple of times, 3 times on the phone. The last one was, I think, in June, a couple of minutes, but that, he's not going to give or take. And he said, I just want you to drop the hose. I said, I'm not going to do it. President Biden has complained about it. I've been waiting for a phone call. I will go to the Oval Office and sit down with him and explain to him what I'm doing, how we can work through this if we wanted to work through it together. But they don't want any conversation. They want all the heat to build on me. Now they've started in our conference in terms of Republicans coming out. And, but that doesn't bother me. I'm going to hold steadfast. This is a executive overreach by Joe Biden and his administration. and the taxpayers are having to pay something for abortion, and that is against the law.
Now, let me be very clear about this. So there's been no effort to sit down and work out a way forward on this. It's just, Senator, we don't like your whole drop it or silence, but no, let's see how we can come to an agreement and reach a policy that's acceptable.
My way or the highway, Tony. That's what they're saying. Now, tomorrow, we're getting together, and I've signed a petition, and you have to do that to get all your conference members to have a group conference. We're doing that tomorrow, I think 3 or 3:30 here on Capitol Hill. I'm going to let everybody vent their frustrations. I'm going to give them my side of the story. This is only Republicans, and I'm going to ask for solutions. I mean, there's got to be solutions. But again, we started at 0 9 months ago. We had no promotions outstanding. Now, because we've sat around and not done much and looked for solutions as a group, or tried to push these through one at a time with a petition like I've done the last few weeks, is, we've run into a brick wall and everybody's hollering readiness. But again, Secretary of Defense is in charge of readiness.
Has Senator Schumer, the Senate scare leader, Senate Majority Leader, has he put forward a piece of legislation that would codify this change into law? Has he allowed the Senate to vote on this?
No, and that's what I've been asking for. Hey, just send the law over and vote on it. It won't pass, Tony, because they would have some very bad votes on some of the members that have elections in 1 year. So they don't want to vote. They just want to push it over on the Republicans, tell us what to do. The only power we have here, as most people know, is put a hold on something. That's the reason I'm doing this. They've won every battle since I've been here in 3 years. And this is one that they're not going to win without at least some conversation, a little bit of negotiation. And if you're seeing Gaza and Israel, you see in Ukraine and Russia, and you see in this deal, there's no negotiation skills from this White House. It's their way or the highway. They don't want to negotiate, but they're going to have to do something different here, because they're going to run into not having anybody promoted, and we're going on a year.
So Senator Tuberville, just so our viewers and listeners understand this is the legislative process. This is one of the tools in the toolkit for the minority party, especially when you have one that's just ramming everything through. This is one of, if not the only way you can be heard on this.
That's the only way. I mean, it's the only way we can get anything done here when you're on the minority side. Same thing. Hopefully, when we take the Senate, they'll have the same problem. But Tony, tomorrow, it looks like they're thinking about doing a resolution, Chuck Schumer, and bringing a resolution after it'll be out of the Rules Committee of voting on it to try to get 60 votes where they can shut me down. Now, they'll need 9 Republicans to vote on this. I'm sure they'll get a few. Hopefully they don't get 9, because if they do this, they'll set a precedent that's never happened in the Senate, just breaking the rules, just burning the Senate down without any thought. They need to really think about what they're doing.
So we're up against a break, Senator, but our folks should be calling their senators and saying them not to vote for a rule change. Is that correct?
Exactly right. Exactly right. Let us do our job. Let us put holes on. Let them think about it. Let them work out a decision. Move the policy back, and let's vote on it. That's all I'm asking.
All right. Senator Tommy Tuberville, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you as always, and thanks for standing for the unborn and for the rule of law.
Thank you, Tony. God bless.